Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Ellsworth and we're going to be talking about lesson 3-4, dividing rational numbers. And we're going to be putting a couple little spins on it. We're going to be talking about, first of all, the first baby step in that, and that's the multiplicative inverse or the reciprocal. And of course, we'll divide negative and positives. And then algebraic, don't let that freak you up because it's a lot of fun when you work with those. In fact, it's less calculating, so it's pretty much more fun with those algebraic ones. Okay, let's go ahead and hop right into this. So we are first talking about the multiplicative inverse, and I don't want that word to scare you. It's just kind of fun to say, though. Anyway, so when they are asking you for the multiplicative inverse of something, they are asking you for the reciprocal. Okay, the reciprocal, and you should know what that is. That is when you flip a number over like this. So that's actually the answer to this. So they just want to know, I mean, here's the property. The multiplicative inverse property is what we're talking about here, but what they want to know is they want to know, well, what do you have to multiply it to equal 1? And so that'd be 7 times 16 and 16 times 7, and so that equals 1. And so that's what they're really talking about it, but the multiplicative inverse of it is the reciprocal. Okay, and then if you go look at this one right here, this one is a mixed number. And so then you have to go and do your multiplicative inverse of that. But you have to first of all go and change that into an improper fraction. Make it top heavy. Keep that sign with it. Keep the sign with it, flip it over, and then you've got this for an answer right here. You've got a negative 3/19. Okay, and that is the multiplicative inverse or the reciprocal of negative 6 1/3. Okay, if necessary, you might have to reduce it here too, but you don't have to in these two cases. You do not go and change this one into a mixed number either. You're good right there with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and name a couple of multiplicative inverses here. So why don't you pause it for a second and work these out. I'm going to do them right now. So you do that. Okay, so the reciprocal or the multiplicative inverse of this one is 7, 6. That's sloppy writing. That's a 7 and a 6, and that's it. This one you got to do a little more work. You got to go and change this into 3 times 5, which is 15, plus 2 more, so it's 17 fifths, and we keep that negative in there, and now I have to flip that baby over, so we're going to negative 5/17. Oh, good deal. Okay, so let's practice with a couple of these ones. Now, what would you do if it's just a number? Oh, goodness. Well, that's just fine, too. You would go and say, okay, I've got a negative 101 over 1, and now I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to do the reciprocal, and I'm going to have a negative 1 over 101. And that's it. That's it. So you do the same thing for number 3. We just right now learned how to do these two. We'll get to mixed. Oh, I'm wrong. Okay, let's look at this one. So that's pretty nice. You just take 9 times 10, which is 90, plus 9 more, so that's 99 tenths. And don't think you're done there. You got to still flip it, so it's 10 over 99. Okay, make sure it makes sense that you did flip it so that you've got a different denominator than what you started out with. Okay, so how are we going to use this information? Well, what we do whenever we are going to divide, find a quotient means divide, what we're going to do is we're going to flip this baby right here, the second fraction, and multiply it. So it says multiply by the reciprocal of that. Okay, so we'll do that. 1/9, okay, times 12 fifths. Okay, and so we're going to get 12 over 45. Now, question for you. Did you see that this is divisible by 3? Divisible by 3, so you can simplify it. Okay, so this is 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 45 divided by 3, 15 plus 15 plus 15, it would be 15. Okay, so this is our answer reduced. Now look at this. You could have, if you don't mind, you could have went and reduced this first. In fact, if you're having troubles even figure out what do I got to reduce this with, well, look in your problem. This right here, both of these two are divisible by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. Now look at that. 1 times 4 is 4. 3 times 5 is 15. If you're somebody like me who hates working with big numbers and doing long division, do it that way. But if it intimidates you, do not do it until you're ready to do it. Okay, moving on. Right here. Now, we got to divide by 8. By 8? Well, let's find the reciprocal of 8 over 1. So we're going to flip that and multiply. So 3/7 times 1/8. Okay, so we're going to get 3 times 1 is 3. 7 times 8 is 56. And I'm not even looking to see if I can reduce it here. I'm looking to see if I could have reduced it here. Nope, that's it. Okay, again, we are using the multiplicative inverse or the reciprocal on this second fraction so we can flip it and multiply. Okay, so let's talk about this. If you were going to divide a fraction by 8, what you're really doing is multiplying it by 1/8. And maybe you would know, like if you're dividing by 2, it's the same thing as multiplying by a half if we had that. So maybe that would help it make sense better. Okay, I'm not going to do these. If you want to check your work and do these on your own time right now, that is a great idea because you can check your work and get your answer there. But what I am going to do right now is I'm going to go over a couple of them that are in the book. And they are not grouped together right now. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at, well, we'll just go ahead and look at number 7. Okay, number 7, we've got -4/5. Okay, and I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 8/9 is 9/8. I'm hoping that you're fine with me skipping out, writing out that whole thing over, and that I'm just going to go ahead and reduce it. Okay, so let's reduce it, and I've got 4 that goes into both of these two. Cool, so divide this one by 4 and I get a -1. Divide this one by 4 and I get a 2. Well, that's pretty nice. I got a -1 times 9, which is -9, and I've got 5 times 2, which is 10. Now, that's great. Go and make sure that makes sense with your signs. Do you have 1 negative? You do, so your answer is going to be negative. If you had 2, your answer would be positive. Okay, so now think about this here for a second. If you were going to go and multiply straight across, you got that -36 over a -40. I mean, that's fine. Those are still very workable numbers because these are all single digits. Okay, and then you could see that you could divide by 4, get that, divide by 4 to get that. So, I mean, whether you reduce in the beginning or later on is up to you. I like doing this before I get big numbers, though. I think it's because I think when they're bigger numbers, we have a bigger chance of making an error. Okay, when you're doing this one, make sure the 7/9, and then you got to multiply it by the reciprocal of -14. I'm going to let you do this one on your own, but that's 14 over 1. And so this would be a 1 over, I'm going to put that negative up there so I don't lose it, and then 14. Okay, I see some reducing that you can do there. That looks like a fun one. Oh, sorry. Anyway, so let's go ahead and look at this one here. These ones are mixed numbers. This could be a problem. Oops. Okay, so let me get rid of something here. Okay, so what do you do with this one? Instead, you need to change these into improper fractions. Okay, just like you had to do with the reciprocal, and that was fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this out. So let me grab a marker. So 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 more is 14. I'm going to keep that negative there so I don't lose it, and I still have the same denominator. Okay, and then I'm going to do divide by, and then 3 times 9 is 27, plus 1 more is 28 over 9. Okay, so now I'm going to flip the second one and multiply. Okay, multiply by the reciprocal. Here we go. So we're getting there. So it's -14/3. Okay, and multiplied by 9/28. Oh, these could be some big ugly numbers. I am going to reduce first. If you don't want to, you don't have to, and then you can figure out what you're going to reduce by, but you're going to be reducing by 14 at least. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure that out. So we've got 14 goes into 14 one time. Okay, so it's really -1 right there. And 14 goes into 28 two times. 14 plus 14 is 28. Okay, I can also see this one too. Well, that's super cool. Okay, 3 goes into 3 one time. And 3 goes into 9 three times. So I knew that 3 was a common multiple there, or common factor there. And I knew the 14 was a common factor there. Look how nice this is. A -1 times 3 is -3. And a 1 times 2 is 2. Or -1 1/2. Because you can take 2 seconds out of here. 2 seconds out of here, which is 1. And you'd have 1 left over. Okay? Okay. Let's go ahead and look at an example one from our work that we're going to have to do. Whoopsie. Okay, so let's go look at that one. Okay, let's look at this. I've got 2 negatives, so I need to remind myself about that later on when I'm looking at my problem there. Okay, so I've got a -2. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 more is 11, so -11 fifths. Okay, divided by, and I'm going to just still change this into an improper fraction. -3 times 3 is 9, plus 11, plus 2 more is 11, so I got -11 over 3. Okay, notice something. That's going to be kind of cool when I have to flip this and multiply it, isn't it? Okay, so -11 over 5 times -3 over 11. And I know that when I multiply 2 negatives, I get a positive. You can always change 2 signs around in a thing like this when you're multiplying. Okay, so look at this. 11 and 11 cancel out because 11 goes in 11 one time, 11 goes in 11 one times. Okay, so our answer here is just 3/5, and it is positive because 2 negatives make a positive. Okay, the last type of example I want to show you might be the most intimidating, but don't let it intimidate you. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this one right here. So we have to flip the second one and multiply, okay, because I want us to find the quotient of these, so we have to divide. So 5 over 3ab, okay, and that's going to be multiplied by ABC over 15. We can do so much canceling out here that these are actually kind of fun. Okay, so we've I'm having problems here. So you've got A times B can be canceled out. Okay, and I see that we've got a 5 goes into 5 once and 5 goes into 15 3 times. So let's go ahead and multiply 1 times C, and you get 1C. And then 3 times 3 is going to be 9. Now you can reduce this a little bit more by just saying C over 9. Okay, let's look at another example. Okay, and we'll go and take this out here and look at some problems that we have. Okay, let's look at number 15. Oh, this one looks, I think, a little bit more intimidating. So let's go look at that. So we've got 4AB over C, and I'm going to flip the second one and multiply, times 2C over 3A. Okay, let's do our dividing, canceling out. So we got a C over here, a C over here. That makes a 1 and a 1, right? We've got an A and an A. Okay, so this denominator is pretty nice. It's just 3. And then the numerator is 4 times 2 is 8, and then times B. And that's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, let's look at one more. Let's look at this guy right here. I'm probably going to run out of time. I'm going to go until I run out. Got mn over 6, and this is going to be times p over 3m. Okay, because I have to flip that second one and multiply. So I'm going to cancel on m, cancel on an m, so it's just going to be np over 6 times 3 is 18. That's it. That's all you can do. Well, I will see you.